I'm Lauren Turner from River Birch Farm. If you've been following along with our article, I have Gift at Noon. I am retraining him for the Retired Racehorse Project. Previously, I won America's Most Wanted Thoroughbred with Fairway King last year at the 2016 Retired Racehorse Project. So this month we are talking about how you make a decision on what your training program should look like and making those decisions daily as far as what your options are to do with your horse every day. So we're in our tack room here at River Birch Farm, and I'm just going to walk you through some of the things that I have on hand that give me some options to work with my horses. Of course, I'm an eventer, so I am retraining Gift definitely for eventing. We haven't decided what his second discipline is going to be. So of course I have my jump saddle, my dressage saddle, so any day of the week I might either be doing jump or flatting. Then in addition to that, I do a lot of work on the lunge line or in groundwork. So I have two lunging systems here. This is a knockoff Pessoa lunging system. I'm not sure if you guys have seen that, but basically what this does is it helps the horse learn how to loosen up its back and stretch over its top line. So I like to use this a lot with Gift. He has a tendency to be a little bit above the connection and can be a little bit tight in his lower back, so I really like using this Pessoa system on him. And what I will do is I will actually tack him up and then put my surcingle on over my dressage saddle and lunge him for 10 or 15 minutes before I get on to help him loosen up. My other surcingle I have here has side reins on it. I choose to use solid side reins versus the very common elastic ones. For me, I have found that the solid side reins do a better job of teaching a horse how to connect and doesn't teach them to kind of bounce on that connection. With the solid side reins, they really have to stand up and use themselves, and they can't just lean against those side reins that have that elastic and that give. So I also do a lot of groundwork as far as horsemanship goes. This is one of my rope halters and lines. I use the groundwork to teach my horses how to think, to teach them how to be yes horses. What I mean by that is, especially cross country and in jumping is one of the most important places that I use my groundwork. All of my horses, when I restart them, their first time out cross country, I am not on their backs. They're typically tacked up, but I have them in a rope halter, and I go out and introduce all of the obstacles to them, water, ditches, banks, etc., in a way that allows them to think about what's in front of them and take a minute and step back. Instead of just feeling like they have to be rushed into the situation, I teach them how to think themselves through the question. And then of course I'll present them to a couple of jumps, but most importantly when I do that, those days I am looking to teach those horses the banks, the ditches, the drops, etc., kind of those places where horses most typically have issues out cross country. So a couple of the other options, I have a lot of tack in here, and it's really important to me to have the right type of bridle and the right type of bit on your horse. So I have everything from Micklums to figure eights to crank nosebands, bits that I'm using. I use milers, I use a lot of milers. I really believe in the miler bitting system. I use it a lot for my horses in all stages of their training, depending on their needs. I like the milers, different choices of mouth pieces and the different choices, combinations of the cheek pieces, so you can really get the right bit for where your horse is at in his training. So every day or every week, I kind of think about where is Gift in his training. Do we have an upcoming horse show we're prepping for in particular, or am I just developing him, as we go along? So right now it is coming into the 1st of June. We do have a 3-phase coming up at Chat Hills. I'm going to run him in his second beginner novice 3-phase, and our last one was at the end of April at Poplar Place. He did a beginner novice 3-phase. He did great, but again, the flatting with Gift is a little bit of his weak point, and then also in the jumping he tends to want to rush the fences a little bit. So I'm working really hard on trying to keep the rhythm to the fences with him, and then in the flat making him stay connected and actually into the connection and not above or below it. So today I'm going to be taking him out. I'm going to flat him today. I'm going to tack him up in my dressage saddle. I'm going to put him in the Pessoa and lunge him and let him open up his back. Now, since I'm doing that today, I have a 6-day work regimen for my horses. So today we'll be flatting and we'll be in the Pessoa. Tomorrow we'll probably go out for a hack. So here at River Birch Farm, we're on 14 acres. I'm in North Georgia. My boyfriend built this farm. It's absolutely beautiful. I'm really fortunate to be here. And it's really hilly, so it's nice to have this property to hack out my horses. It gives them an opportunity to work over their top line and get strong in their haunches without having to work them really hard. Even just take them out on long walks is really important, and that's a big part of my program, is hacking my horses out on a regular basis. So that might be what we do tomorrow. And then the third day of our week, we would probably do some jumping. And so I like to jump my horses twice a week. In the first jump session, I try to do grid work and footwork, especially for Gift, because he really needs to keep the rhythm to the fences. So our third work day will be grids. Our fourth work day, I will probably do another flat session. Maybe today I'll introduce something new, and then later on this week when we flat again, I will just be recovering that material, making sure he knows it, understands it, and reviewing all of that with him. Then on the fifth day, we'll probably jump again, and on the fifth day we will be doing some course work. So I'll set up a little course. I don't have a big arena. I only have a standard size dressage arena. So that is just something that I have to keep in mind, and I have to be careful about how I set my courses. But I've run horses up to 1 star so far, and I've only had a dressage arena to jump in, so it's working great. And let's see, so 5 days. So the 6th day, we've hacked. We've flatted 2 days, we've jumped 2 days, so the 6th day I might focus on just something on the ground. I might just do groundwork on the horsemanship side, or I might lunge him for a longer session in the Pessoa to try to get him to really stretch over his top line. Gift isn't having connection issues or a balance issue at this point that I want to put the solid side reins on him. I would maybe use these solid side reins. I have, Gift is 7, but he's only been restarted since December, of course, with the Retired Racehorse Project. But I have another 5-year-old Fairway King that won last year, and I am trying to get him to be a little bit stronger behind and to truly reach over his top line into the connection. So I like to use the solid side reins on him, especially in his canter work, is helping him develop a much nicer canter. So those are our options as far as how I try to make my decisions in our program.